This video explores the anatomy of a cloud breach, focusing on tactics and techniques used by attackers in cloud environments. We will concentrate on real-world attack scenarios and defensive countermeasures in Microsoft Azure. Cloud platforms such as Microsoft Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud are major targets. While each has unique features, the fundamental attack methodology remains consistent. Attackers don't exploit the cloud itself, but rather configuration weaknesses, weak access control, and security architecture flaws. A successful cloud breach is a methodical campaign broken down into 4 key phases. These are information gathering, vulnerability assessment, exploitation, and post-exploitation. Phase 1, reconnaissance. This involves identifying and profiling the target cloud infrastructure. Tools like Shodan and Masscan are used to search for internet-connected devices, open ports, and services for potential entry points. A common target is S3 storage buckets, the AWS analog to Azure Blob Storage. Misconfigured storage can be an entry point. Techniques like Google Dorking and specialized tools like S3 Scanner or CloudBrute can enumerate public buckets and gather information. Phase 2, vulnerability assessment. After reconnaissance, the attacker systematically searches for configuration flaws. Automated scanning with tools like Prowler and CloudSploit helps find vulnerabilities such as overly permissive IAM/Azure AD policies or publicly accessible data storage. A key step is analyzing identity and access management, or IAM, policies. Tools like cloud-splaining are used to export authorization data and generate reports that highlight excessive permissions, potential privilege escalation paths, and data exfiltration possibilities. Phase 3, exploitation. This is where a theoretical vulnerability becomes a real exploit. Server-side request forgery, or SSRF, is a common vector. In a cloud context, SSRF is dangerous as it can be used to make requests to internal services, such as the Instance Metadata Service, or IMDS. An IMDS attack involves using SSRF to request temporary credentials from the Instance Metadata Service. The attacker can enumerate roles and then obtain temporary access keys, allowing them to interact with the cloud provider's API with the VM's privileges. Phase 4, post-exploitation. Once initial access is gained, the attacker aims to establish long-term control. Key post-exploitation goals include privilege escalation, lateral movement, persistence, and covering tracks, such as deleting logs. Attackers with limited permissions will look for specific IAM rights that allow for privilege escalation. Examples include permissions to create new policy versions, run instances with existing high-privilege roles, or create new access keys for other users. To maintain persistent access, attackers create backdoors. This includes creating backdoor accounts using tools like Endgame, or establishing persistence on virtual machines by modifying startup scripts, injecting SSH keys, or deploying rootkits to hide malicious activity. Covering tracks often involves manipulating the cloud's logging services, such as CloudTrip. Attackers may stop logging, delete trails, or even remove log storage buckets. This creates a, quote, blind spot for security audits, making incident investigation much harder. These tactics apply to Microsoft Azure. The logic remains the same, though the specific services differ. For instance, AWS IAM corresponds to Azure Active Directory, S3 buckets to Azure Blob Storage, and CloudTrail to Azure Monitor or Activity Log. A strong defensive strategy requires a proactive approach. Key defenses include applying the principle of least privilege, continuous monitoring and auditing, regular scanning for misconfigurations, protecting metadata services, and securing web applications.